NATO has never been more united than it is today.
And in that unity, NATO pledged billions of dollars in humanitarian aid for Ukraine, as well as more armaments to repel the Russian onslaught. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, speaking to the world leaders, said it's not enough. He needs more tanks, more planes, and he again appealed to the West to invoke a no-fly zone over his country. Something the Secretary General of NATO agreed with other leaders is simply too risky if Western forces ever engage Russian aircraft.
The risk for a full-fledged war between NATO and Russia will be very high.
In a further effort to punish Putin, President Biden announced new sanctions, these aimed at companies and Kremlin politicians.
More than 300 members of the Duma, oligarchs, and Russian defense companies that fuel the Russian war machine.
And Biden revealed the U.S. will commit $1 billion to help get relief to millions of Ukrainian refugees. To strengthen security in the region, NATO said it'll establish additional battle groups in 4 Eastern Europe countries.
In favor, 140.
The UN General Assembly overwhelmingly approved a resolution blaming Russia for the humanitarian crisis and again urged an immediate ceasefire. In Ukraine, government forces reported sinking a Russian ship that was being used to supply Kremlin troops with armored vehicles. Shelling continued throughout the day in the northern part of Kharkiv, smoke billowing from residential neighborhoods. In Kyiv, emergency responders had to dodge shells being fired as they tried to extinguish a fire at a warehouse. And Russia is denying alarming reports by Ukraine that it has confiscated the passports of more than 400,000 Ukrainians against their will and sent them to camps in Russia. Heartbreak at the funeral of 96-year-old Boris Romanchenko, who survived the Holocaust but fell victim to the war in Ukraine. And heading toward a new life, dozens of Ukrainian orphans escaping from the war on a special relief flight to London.
The Kremlin, which claims its war is all about trying to demilitarize Ukraine, responded to the NATO summit by declaring the West has itself to blame for the war because it armed Ukraine in the first place. Now, President Biden, he goes to Poland tomorrow, where millions of refugees are now being sheltered. And it's now being reported that half of Ukraine's 7 million children are among those displaced by the war.